This is Boomer Life on CL 650.
This is Boomer Life on CL 650. I'm Joanne Sutton. Thank you for joining us today. Maria Howard, CEO of the Alzheimer Society of British Columbia, is in the studio with us today. And our next guest is on the telephone. We're thrilled to have him speak as an expert on the topics of policy and legislation when it comes to seniors' care, Alzheimer's disease, and dementia. So let's say hello to Daryl Plecas. Hello, Daryl.
Hi, Joanne.
How are you today?
Good, thank you. And thanks for having me on your show.
Well, thank you for joining us. So Mr. Plecas is the Parliamentary Secretary for Seniors in this province, and he has a very lengthy and detailed background of experience in criminal justice, health and safety, and many issues for British Columbians. We could actually speak for about an hour on your credentials alone, but let me say first, I want to thank you for taking the time to speak with us today. And as we wrap up January and Alzheimer's Awareness Month, we wanted to talk a little bit about how far dementia care in British Columbia has come and also where it needs to go. So, Daryl, could you talk a little bit about some of the highlights around dementia policy in British Columbia, which you've experienced while in office?
Yes, let me give that a try. And maybe I can first say that my first-hand experience with getting a commitment about how the government views the whole problem of Alzheimer's disease and dementia is, their commitment, I think, and it's a very strong commitment, to helping those with dementia have access to early diagnosis, treatment, and support. And I guess, my very first look at this goes back to November 2012, 4 years ago, when the government released its provincial dementia action plan, which included the development of a new dementia guidelines and resources to support families and physicians and residential care providers with the assessment and person-centered treatment that people are wanting to see. And the ministry then updated that this fall, and it includes 4 priorities, which I think are important for people to be aware of. And the first one is increasing public awareness and early recognition of cognitive changes. And that includes increasing healthy behaviors by promoting brain health and by improving access to early diagnosis, intervention, and community support programs. The second thing is supporting people with dementia to live safely at home for as long as possible, including caregiver support, which is part of a broader initiative on behalf of government to ensure seniors are more likely and able to live at home. So this includes improving supports that will allow people with dementia to remain at home and better support transition when they need it to residential care. And so that leads me to the third issue and priority, and that's improving quality of dementia care in residential care, including palliative and end-of-life care. And this includes strengthening standards for dementia care and residential care to provide quality care for all of those individuals who can't live at home. And then fourthly and lastly, it's increasing system supports and adoption of best practices in dementia care. And that includes improving healthcare professional and caregiver knowledge and their ability to deliver safe and well-informed dementia care using best practices. Now, the Ministry of Health also recently renewed its 3-year license with PIECES Canada, that's PIECES Canada, to use their dementia care education program. And that PIECES stands for Physical, Intellectual, Emotional Capabilities, Environment, and Social. And it's a made-in-Canada clinical support framework to support person-centered care for those with complex physical, cognitive, mental health, and behavioral challenges. And the model provides a shared understanding of the often multiple underlying causes of behavioral expression associated risks, such as recognizing areas of need, building on the person's remaining strengths, considering their person's physical and intellectual health, offering support strategies to maximize capabilities, and the individual social and physical environment. the government also continues to work with community and nonprofit partners to expand resources and supports available to individuals and families. And on that note, I'm reminded that, the government put in $1.5 million in funding in 2013 to enable the Michael Smith Foundation for Health Research to partner with Brain Canada and Genome British Columbia and the Pacific Alzheimer's Research Foundation to create what amounted to a $7.5 million fund to advance BC's research into Alzheimer's. And then, of course, in last May, the Premier announced another $2.7 million in funding for First Link. And with that announcement, the province and provincial health authorities have provided a total of some $13 million to the Alzheimer Society of BC to support First Link since 2007. Let's just say a comment about First Link. It's an ongoing connection that assists British Columbians with dementia and their loved ones through information, education, and support at any stage in the journey. Now, there are support groups, educational resources, and one-on-one sessions. And information is provided about the disease, about planning for the future, tips for day-to-day living, and services when needed. And people can be referred to the program through a number of means, including a family physician, a specialist, home and community care workers, mental health workers, and a community agency, or they can refer themselves. So it's all part of a package to create greater awareness, greater education, and doing it through a multiplicity of venues. And, of course, leading the charge on that, which Maria could probably speak to exceptionally well, is the role of the Alzheimer Society of BC in that, because they are the catalyst, the group that brings it all together.
Mm-hmm. Well, it does sound, I guess, if we were reading all of this on paper, it sounds like the provincial government is doing a lot. I'm just wondering, how closely do your organizations work together? You could both answer that, and how closely do you need to work together? And Maria, are you okay? Are you on board with all of the updates that the government made to their dementia action plan?
I think the relationship and the partnership between the Alzheimer Society of BC and the Ministry of Health has been one of real collaboration. Both organizations bring different skills and abilities to the table that need to move forward to help people in BC. Certainly the Ministry of Health has been very open and inclusive in terms of really understanding what are the needs of people with dementia in the province, and to that level they have had, they've included working with people with dementia to be a part of that process, which is really essential because you have to look to the people who are living with the disease to really inform how changes should move forward. So, I'm excited with the support from the ministry, and I look forward to growing this. But we have a long ways to go, and I know Darryl would agree with me on that. A lot of it is because there is still a significant stigma and belief about what Alzheimer's is, and why people don't necessarily pay attention to it. And we have to change those cultural views before a lot of this cure and all these other things can actually move forward and make a difference.
And Darryl Plecas, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I don't think we can, and I think all British Columbians should be reminded of this. I don't think we can ever go far enough to be thankful to the Alzheimer Society of British Columbia for all that they do to help those with dementia. And as Maria also said, it's an exercise in working together, and it's an incredible challenge to see what more we can do, because we're always fighting the resources issue. There seems to be never enough resources to do all that we want to do. So, that exercise of looking for more resources, trying to provide more resources, and of course always looking for new things that we can do. And I think we are so very mindful in government that, it's certainly not something that we can do alone, and nobody is better positioned to lead the charge there than the Alzheimer Society of BC. So
Darryl, can I actually ask you if you have a personal connection with dementia, and has this influenced your approach to the need for policy around dementia care in the province?
No, I don't personally, but I can certainly say that I've, met so many people, particularly in my role as Parliamentary Secretary for Seniors. I've been into dozens of residential care facilities, and been to numerous meetings, regarding people with dementia and presentations, and certainly been made aware of just the enormity of the problem. I think there's something like 62,000 people in British Columbia with dementia. And so, it's obviously something that is affecting the lives of many people, because it's not just people with dementia, of course, it's all of those people who live with people with dementia, who are related to people with dementia, work with people who have dementia. And I've also been made aware that, we also always talk about seniors with dementia, but, there's all kinds of people who have dementia before they become seniors. And maybe Maria could say something about that. And you also, get the sense, at least through the experiences that I've had, that, there's so much yet to do in terms of causing people to have an awareness of these things that I mentioned before, like early warning signs, and people being understanding of what it means to have dementia, because it's certainly, no matter which way one wishes to look at it, it's such a difficult disease.
So maybe I could ask you then what your hopes would be for policy around dementia care in BC for the future.
Well, I think the one thing I would, say again is, going back to our provincial guide to dementia care, which, was, revisited and laid out, just in the fall here. And it says where we want to go. And, it includes, again, increasing public awareness and early recognition of cognitive changes. Being supportive of those with dementia to live safely at home for as long as they can. Improving quality of dementia care and residential care, and again, including palliative and end-of-life care. And again, increasing system supports and adoption of best practices in dementia care. And there's so many examples. And again, I know Maria could refer to these that are all over the world, in some places in particular in Europe, where they've done great work, and we have so much to learn from their experiences on how we can do things better here. And reminded again of one of the Ministry of Health's priorities is to better meet the needs of older people with moderate to complex chronic conditions, and in particular frailty. And frailty, of course, is compounded by the increased prevalence of dementia. So it's never, I shouldn't say it commonly anyway, it's never just dementia alone. It's all of these other things that might go with it. So the provincial guide to dementia care in BC, I guess, in some supports health authorities and community partners to meet the needs of frail seniors and people with complex chronic conditions such as dementia. And it calls for services that allow people with dementia to live safely at home for as long as they can, and make that transition to residential care when and if they need it as smooth as possible. Responsive and flexible care models are needed to support people with dementia. That's absolutely for sure. And for them, again, to be cared for at home, because we don't want to see people go into emergency departments or acute care inpatient beds. And so it includes the ability to receive palliative end-of-life care services at home if that's where the person the person wants to be.
Well, I wish we had more time to talk about this in greater length, but it's nice to know that that the needs of seniors are top of mind in your office. Darryl Plecas, thank you for your contributions to today's show.
And again, thank you to Maria and the Society for everything they do.
Thank you.
January is Alzheimer's Awareness Month, and we want you to make certain that you know about the Investors Group Walk for Alzheimer's, a chance for you to get involved with both participation and support. Details are coming up next on Boomer Life on CL 650.
Canada's only weekly radio show dedicated to the baby boomer lifestyle. This is Boomer Life on CL 650.